Pennsylvania goes to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the President of the United States.
On November 8th, 2016, the so-called unthinkable happened. This woman did not become President of the United States again. Instead, this man became president. Depending on where you get your opinions from, the whole world was very sad and very, very surprised. Except me, and possibly you. I don't know if you were surprised or not. I don't know you, and I can't make assumptions about things I don't know. How refreshing that must be. I was not surprised for a number of reasons. Mainly because of things that had happened in the UK in 2016. So many unthinkable things occurred, it blew my mind. Leicester City won the Premiership, and Brexit actually happened.
The total number of votes cast in favour of leave was 17,410,742.
If you're not familiar with Leicester City nor the Premiership, then pause this video and do a quick Google, because seriously, I don't have time to waste explaining stuff to you. Do your own fucking fact checking, okay? The point is that this was very, very surprising and did not fit the narrative of what usually happens and what should happen. But that's the beauty of it. When life is too predictable, it becomes stale, and twists like this add some spice to the beige spread life serves up too regularly. So 1 year on, where are we now? Nowhere. Nothing has really changed. Most likely we're going to keep repeating the same mistakes as before, over and over. How predictable and beige. The real question is, how the hell did we get here? Well, allow me to tell you, and hopefully I can inspire you to actually change things for once. Yeah, right.
Hold the line! Hold the line!
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again.
So if you don't get an actual check from the Mexican government for $8 or $10 or $12 billion, whatever it will cost, how are you going to make them pay for the wall?
I will, and the wall just got 10 feet taller, believe me. It's got 10 feet taller.
This creature is Lance Stewart, perhaps one of the most successful clickbaiters on YouTube. Lance Stewart uses JPEGs like these and titles like these, and literally this fills up about 20 seconds of his content. The rest is benign vlogging drivel about nothing. Lance has even tried to convince people he's been possessed by demons. Lance also likes to use his girlfriend to lure you in with the smallest, most remote chance you might see something a bit naughty. Here's a great example of one of Lance's videos. Look at the thumbnail. Here's the bit from the thumbnail.
I almost got her. What is wrong with you?
And the rest of the video is like this. Shameless, beautiful clickbait. Not all clickbait is as blatant and shameless as Lance Stewart. Here's Logan Paul. Logan Paul is massive. He has many subscribers. At current count, over 12 million. Here's him trying to convince us he smuggled a dwarf onto an aeroplane in some luggage.
It is 7:26 a.m. I have one mission, and that is to get my boy. I'm losing my mind right now.
Oh, Logan, I hope you see me. Please get me. I just want to get out of this thing.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my God.
I hope he gets me. I hope he gets me. Oh, is that Logan? Is that Logan? Is that Logan?
It's insane.
People do generally believe he did this. Clearly, you cannot do this. It breaks so many rules and laws. You'd be mad in this current climate to even attempt to do this. This dwarf would be shot dead. Here's Brian Lee, also known as Rice Gum, the nemesis of Logan and his brother Jake Paul. Here's Rice Gum talking about how clickbaiters need to be stopped.
I freaking hate this guy. This guy is so stupid. He just keeps using my name for views.
After my little freak out, I calmed myself down and I was looking through his other videos, and I wasn't the only one he was using for views. He was actually doing this with a lot of other YouTubers. He made one about KSI quitting YouTube, Alyssa Violet's new boyfriend, FaZe Rug getting his girlfriend pregnant. None of these are even true, and it just goes to show that this dude will literally say anything just for you to click on his video. And so it came to me, man, you don't need to spend hours making videos and, having good content, because all you need is just a good title and clickbait. It doesn't even need to be true. You can just make it up.
And here's Rice Gum trying to convince us that he actually posted himself in a box.
Alright, so today's the day. It's about to go down. We are outside of the United Postal Service store.
Alright. So basic. I can't believe this is happening. Checked my phone. It says I'm getting shipped out today. Alright guys, once again, not sure where I am right now. Whoa, what the fuck? Whoa.
Because obviously, you can post yourself in a box. This was a very popular trend on YouTube. Rice Gum likes to follow those popular trends. By constantly saying whatever comes into his head whenever he likes without care of consequence has seduced many people into supporting him. Trump began to symbolize anti-establishment thought. Regular politicians, well, actual politicians that is, don't say what they really think and are renowned for not telling it how it is, always dancing around the truth, constantly delivering false promises. So when this man says crazy un-PC things that many everyday folks say, they see him as an honest, no bullshit talking everyday man like them. When this man says CNN is fake news, you bet they will believe that. Where Trump has mastered discrediting his news critics with the snappy phrase fake news, he has also mastered the art of free promotion and sucking people in to vote for him by selling them crazy promises. Trump is a clickbait maestro.
Okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. And as far as, and I have to say this, he hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it. All right, okay.
Everyone was talking about Trump. Way before he even got the nomination to run for president, his momentum was fueled by the momentum of everyone talking about him, whether good or bad.
Going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. Okay. I guarantee it.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump will not become president!
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it.
Everyone was talking. Everyone was listening. Everyone had their own opinion, whether it had been manipulated or not. This is not a new practice. Back in the 1950s, in the very early days of rock and roll and popular music, Colonel Tom Parker the manager of a singer you may know as Elvis, had a great promotion and cash-making idea. He created 2 sets of badges. One said, "I love Elvis," and the other said, "I hate Elvis." It was marketing and business genius. Elvis was so polarizing. All the girls loved him, lots of the boys wanted to be him. Also, lots of boys hated him because all the girls loved him, and many parents and conservative types hated him because of his swinging hips. Everyone wanted to make the statement of whether they loved him or hated him, and Elvis and the Colonel got paid and promoted by everyone. Look at these 2 headlines. Which one is more interesting and entertaining? Trump's knack for getting crazy headlines means most of the time a story about him is entertaining, because news is essentially a form of entertainment.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
gonna give you
question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Fake news and clickbait are basically the same thing. The sole purpose is to hook you in and make money, whether it's through selling products, ad revenue, or by simply discrediting and destroying the competition. These phenomenons are not really anything new. News and entertainment outlets have been using these tools for generations, but over the last few years these terms have become ever more prominent in everything we see, not just on the internet and social media, but on mainstream news, whether it's TV, print, or radio. Donald Trump has pioneered the phrase fake news to discredit all outlets that have criticized and attacked him, and it's very effective. Part of the problem has been that sometimes these outlets have been spreading fake news about him, in particular his arch nemesis, CNN.
Producer for America's CNN News Channel has been apparently caught on camera saying the network's Russia coverage is more about ratings than solid facts.
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia is just like
Could shit. I mean, it's mostly shit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof.
What do you think's going to happen this week? I mean, with the whole Russia thing.
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really?
Here's some fake news clickbait manufactured by Jake Paul, brother of Logan. In this video, he actually tries to convince us that rival YouTuber known as FaZe Banks, who happens to date his ex-girlfriend, assaulted his assistant in a nightclub. In this long and over-winded video, he tries to convince us that this actually happened.
The long story short of it is that Meg was assaulted by a man last night who is in the same like community and space as us, and it's not like, if you guys see, like, she literally has a bruise. I don't know if you can see on camera, like here, not to be like dramatic, but like she literally has a bruise.
And here's a despicable piece of shit content that did the rounds after the Grenfell Towers tragedy. Yes, read this carefully. What's the difference? One is profiting off people's yearning to find a positive story in the wake of a horrific tragedy. The other is openly trying to destroy the career of a YouTube rival and a man who is banging your ex-girlfriend. Which is worse? Both are the same.
Alan, an absolutely bizarre story that received international attention. Now, Josh Witt says he was parked in the parking lot here behind me when a man came up to him out of nowhere, looked at his military haircut, asked if he was a neo-Nazi, and then stabbed him and took off. The only problem is the entire story turned out to be a lie. Now, Thursday, the 26-year-old admitted what he called a, quote, twisted lie that spiraled out of control. Witt had actually been on the TV show Inside Edition and had given numerous interviews across the nation and in the UK in the wake of the Charlottesville riots. Detective Brian Valenzuela told me what really happened was Witt accidentally cut himself inside his car while taking the safety ties off the knife.
And police say that a Muslim teen made up a story about being verbally attacked on a New York City subway. Yasmin Saweed claimed that a group of drunk men yelled at her and tried to tear off her hijab. Here you see her in court, her head shaved. It turns out that she, in fact, admitted to making up that story in order to get out of a family problem.
What's up, guys? Joey Salas here, and today we're going to do a social experiment. We're going to find out whose supporters are more aggressive. I'm going to pretend to be a Bernie supporter, and then I'm going to pretend to be a Trump supporter. Well, I'm voting for Trump. I don't know about you. Who are you voting for?
Bernie all the way, man.
Voting for Bernie? You should vote for Trump instead. Why?
Dude, he is racist, man.
What makes him racist? What did he say that's racist?
Dude, every single thing that comes out
Everything
of his
that he
mouth is
says?
racist. Yeah, I'm offended by it. To tell you the truth. Just think I'm a man. You.
As soon as I put a Bernie sign out, those middle fingers go to thumbs up. Gotta get that burn. Feel the burn, baby. Holding up the Trump sign, I got a lot of people flicking me off. You got a lot of people yelling at me. Doing with the Bernie sign, a lot of thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. By the looks of this video, it turns out that the Bernie supporters are actually more aggressive than the Trump supporters.
Fake news is not always concocted by news outlets. People like to concoct their own fake narrative and get it on the news. YouTubers use clickbait to lure people in to watch their fake pranks and social experiments that portray a fake narrative and perception of what is really going on. All of these taint the public's views of the current climate they live in and distort how they will act and essentially vote. And for what? Political agenda? Maybe a little bit. The main motivation though is money. Ad revenue dollars generated from poorly executed videos. Even when after these particular videos by Joey Salads and FouseyTube have been exposed as being fake, the damage is done. News and media moves way too fast these days to keep up. Once exposed, the seeds of misled thought have already sprouted. No one really knows exactly what's going on. In Russia, the government has been using strategies to confuse the public for some time, leading to the masses not knowing what is true or fake. Vladimir Putin has been kept in power for so long by manipulating the people's perception of what is real, supported by aides who fund and support opposing groups like neo-Nazis and gay rights supporters. Donald Trump seems to employ the similar tactic to great effect. Except he doesn't need to fund groups, he just talks and tweets.
I'm not like Hillary Clinton. She's got no strength. She's got no stamina. Everything she does is like theatrical. Oh, Donald Trump said this. She's the one that caused all this problem. With her stupid policies, she was truly, if not the, one of the worst Secretary of States in the history of the country. You'll be looking at the record of Hillary Clinton and how did she do as Secretary of State? Probably above and beyond everybody else and everything else. I don't know that Benghazi, it doesn't seem to have resonated like perhaps it should have.
It did not matter what was real and what was fake. Much like the YouTuber drama, the amount of clickable content generated by what came out of Trump's mouth or his Twitter fingers kept things moving so fast, it was impossible to keep up and keep track. The narrative of fake news was already established. Trump was, and essentially still is, #1 in the clickbait charts. If a news agency labeled as fake news focuses on the lies and contradictions of Donald Trump, who on earth do you believe? You either become a nihilist or go with who you like. Of course, Russia and the Donald are continuously linked. What is true and what is fake is not yet fully confirmed. What is confirmed, however, is Russia's role in the election and using some of their homegrown divisive tactics. Russia saw the growing divisions and tensions in the USA and threw some money at it. This is not what democracy is supposed to look like, and part of that problem is that online opinions are not based on people's own thoughts and opinions. The majority of it is based on what has been selected for you to see. Facebook's algorithm is designed to break you down into the most specific of details, mainly for advertisers to target you. For an advertiser with a specific target market in mind, this is a great tool and gives Facebook an edge over competitors, such as Google AdWords. Where Google will charge you just for keywords, Facebook can charge you for targeting specific behaviors, gender, sexual orientation, how much you earn, what fruit you like, and of course, what political leanings you might have. The fact is the algorithm will only let you see what it thinks you want to see. If you are anti-immigration and believe that white people are the most oppressed group on planet Earth, guess what kind of things will pop up on your feed? And on the flip side, if you believe that there are more than 2 genders and that the patriarchy is real, you will live in a very different universe. Facebook can be a very good tool if used right for businesses. There is a big problem though, because Facebook will literally take money from anyone. This is where Russia come back into it.
Russian attacking our democracy and been questioning government officials, past and present, and campaign people for the Trump campaign. But now this is the extent to which the Russians exploited your platforms is bringing the question in, you know, maybe this isn't something just the government has to do. This is something that you guys have to deal with and fix.
Facebook released a report in April 2017 titled Information Operations and Facebook. The report revealed malicious actors had engaged in influence campaigns during the presidential election of 2016. Then, in September of 2017, Facebook released a blog revealing that groups with Russian links were behind these campaigns. Essentially, Russian organizations had been pumping money into promoted posts and shares on Facebook, backing movements on both sides of the political spectrum, targeting those that had expressed an interest in those specific topics and movements. Facebook had been used to do to America what the Russians had been doing at home to their own people for years, backing opposing groups and further dividing left and right, and also helping those in the middle to one side. This would suggest the notion that Trump was aided by Russia during the election is false. What this suggests is an old foe of America meddling with the general feeling of its people, because a divided nation can never be as stable as a one that is united. And worst of all, a nation so divided and triggered that they refuse to talk it out and would rather shut one another down is a nation that will be hard to bring back together.
Russia thought correctly that Donald Trump being president would create chaos, that Trump's incompetence would sort of engender criticism and skepticism of the United States as a serious player on the world stage. That's why Russia wanted Trump, and this is in the book, The Foundations of Geopolitics by Alexander Dugin. I'm probably sort of sounding like a broken record because of how often I'm mentioning that book, but if you go to that book, you will really understand why Russia would want Donald Trump to be president of the United States.
Though just using Facebook ads to do this is a bit of a stretch. What is interesting is the behavior behind what makes people share stuff on social media. Because if you can target the right individuals, they can spread your message further and further and further. Sharing emotions helps people connect. And on social media, this is a powerful thing. Research shows that articles that evoke anger and anxiety are more likely to be shared. Those emotions cause high levels of arousal. What has become very clear is that the left are way more triggered, as in by the stuff that makes you angry, than the right are. The left's reactions to an abundance of news stories, whether real or fake, on social media is a huge part of why they're lost. And these constant viral outbursts lead to a wave of thought that had the sole purpose of fighting back. And those individuals fighting back were calmer, funnier, and to be quite honest, a little less batshit bonkers.
It's really hard being triggered all the time, and I'm not kidding, it's all the time for me at this point.
Well, your white fucking cis nailed in your people. Get off me.
They're using you as a token, and then you speak to me in a sexually harassing manner.
All members of the majority are biased against the members of the minority or oppressed group.
I get dressed in the morning, I'm triggered. I take a shower, I'm triggered.
All white people are racist.
I get in the car, I'm triggered.
All men are misogynistic.
Go for a walk, I'm triggered. I leave my house, I'm triggered. I look at my thin, beautiful sisters and I'm triggered. And
all cisgender people are transphobic.
I just can't get away from it.
In fact, most people are racist, misogynistic, transphobic, ableist, etc.
They want to call you the worst possible name. It's like, the punch a Nazi thing, right? Well, I could imagine a reasonable person being taken some way along the argument of it's okay to punch Nazis, but the problem is the left calls everyone Nazis.
Alt-righters, SJWs, white privilege, Black Lives Matter, feminazis, triggered people. All these labels, terms and movements have continuously been thrown into our faces in the last few years. The growing divisions in the USA were reaching a fierce boiling point in 2016 and have not simmered down a single degree since the election. The growing outrage from the left and the right was becoming highly toxic. Most people on either side were, and largely still are, reasonable people who could sit down and have a nice chat. Unfortunately, due to the clickbait viral nature of news and media, only the greatest degree of lunacy became a talking point.
This person just sexually harassed me.
I said I'm
Yes, yeah, that's right. Humongous what?
This reached a point where people sat in the middle, people who are well-balanced individuals if you like, were no longer allowed to sit there. There were two sides, and that's it. Donald Trump had become a symbol of un-PC culture, a PC culture that was becoming highly toxic. A wave of internet personalities and organizations has started to rise, particularly on YouTube. The rise of the alt-right is of particular significance, as too is the rise of what is known as the skeptic community, and in addition to that, the views of a lot of influential voices on YouTube and social media. The important point to remember is that both right-wing and left-wing voices are biased to the side they view various issues on. You can agree and disagree with half of what both of them say. The difference is the delivery, how they react, and how they back up their arguments.
As to your second part of your question, I get some shit from conservatives for this answer, by the way, but I agree with you. I agree with you that there are structural historical problems in this country. I agree with you that the black community has been treated like hell by both Democrats and Republicans. I just don't think Black Lives Matter is the answer. I don't think that throwing your toys out the pram and burning your own cities is the answer. I think better schools would help. And I think if black people really wanted to improve their lot and improve their situation, they would start voting for Republicans. Because when they do, and when people police properly, black lives are saved. Bill Clinton, who signed the crime bill in which took thousands of black dads out of families and threw them in jail, the terrible, pointless, awful war on drugs, right? Replacing, the black dad with the state, which is what Democrats have systematically tried to do to you guys for generations. And Black Lives Matter's response isn't to say, we're going to try voting for the other guys because 40 years of this hasn't worked. What we want is better schools so that a poor black child who is smart could go to Harvard. They don't do that. They cause a fuss, they block a road, and they burn their own towns down. So yeah, I agree with you that there's a problem. But I think we probably have very, very different prescriptions for that.
Of course we live in a rape culture. Like, of course we do. This is a rape culture. What we live in today is a rape culture. And that's what needs to stop.
Then what does the media and our politicians do to help rapists?
More lenient sentences, a slap on the wrist, which happens all the time.
Okay, give me some examples of that.
You know, I'm not here to give you specific examples, Lauren, but I know that you know, and I know from experience from watching you that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't need to go into details because I don't have any specifics.
You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
You can still legally change it. People recognize.
You can't legally change your age, by the way.
Obviously, you can change your name, you can change your sex, you can change your identity.
Just because you can do things legally doesn't mean that they are correct biologically. You could do lots of things in the past that were incorrect biologically and correct legally. For a long period of time in the United States, sterilization of the mentally ill took place. That didn't make it okay. Skinner versus Oklahoma. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote the decision.
Right. I still don't understand how you're accepting these children that are.
It's not a matter of open-minded and accepting. I want them to get treatment that they see fit, but that's not involving me. The idea behind the transgender movement as a civil rights movement is the idea that all of their problems would just go away if I would pretend that they were the sex to which they claim.
Have you talked to a group of trans people at all instead of just a group of, like, white people?
I'm more than happy to talk to a group of any people who will have me, but usually they protest me. Okay. So first of all, honest to God. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I have to explain to you how semantics work. Like, really, I think that's important now. Okay. You're so boring. You're so boring. Okay, so let me explain to you something, okay? If you're gonna pick a chant like shame, Who, me? If you're gonna pick a chat like shame, watch Game of Thrones first. The bad guys shout shame.
To counter this new wave of right-wing voices, certain people on the left used a very blunt and unsophisticated counterattack. They just simply labelled them all as racists and tried to shut them down by any means possible. On the surface, this looks like an attack on freedom of speech, and under the surface, it's also pretty much an attack on freedom of speech.
Violent riots last night at the University of California at Berkeley. You watched them break out live on this show last evening. The man who made that campus tremble joins us tonight in the studio for his first interview following the outbreak of violence.
This may be all fine and dandy. I don't have much time for left or right wing nutters. I am more than happy to let them just fight it out and carry on living my sweet lovely life. Unfortunately, the left made it very clear that this was not an option. In the wake of growing viral sensations of crazy triggered SJWs, feminists and whatever you class this man as, a community of YouTubers and online voices were growing in popularity for calling them out. They are what I understand to be the skeptic community, which speaks for itself. They were countering the claims and attacks by the angry left with videos containing facts and in-depth examinations. People like Sargon of Akkad, Armored Skeptic and Chris Raygun constantly created videos and built up a strong following. The majority of these creators identify themselves as liberals or classical liberals. Unfortunately for them, they were criticising the actions and statements of certain left-wingers who have a mindset that if you disagree with me, you are against me and you must be destroyed. So in turn, this skeptic community was labelled right-wing, racist, anti-women, anti-gay, and even as white supremacists. These constant attacks on centralist voices is how you push fence-sitters to one side. Labelling all these people as racist is the same kind of ignorant thought process as labelling the entire Muslim population as terrorists. This type of approach was and is concerning, because where does it end?
A gunman's triumphant cry. We've avenged the Prophet Muhammad, heard clearly in dramatic new footage showing Islamist militants Sharif and Saeed Kouachi moments after the Charlie Hebdo massacre.
Maybe that's going a little far, but it's a valid point. What Trump represented was an un-PC thought. He says what the hell he likes, and people liked it. The backlash against the constant outcries from people being offended and attacking everyone who disagreed with whatever agenda that was presented was huge. Many people who were left-wing felt they were alienated by the community they thought represented them. Fact is, just because you don't believe in the concept of 52 genders and you don't feel the need to address people by whatever pronoun they insist they are, does not make you evil. Agree to disagree. However, there is another point to take into account.
Hey, here we are. And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
So today I'm going to be talking about some idiotic Trump fans. Recently, Donald Trump was at a football game in Iowa, and someone with a YouTube channel called AJ Plus went around and asked his supporters this question: what are you tired of hearing about him? Unfortunately, almost every single response was really dumb.
Viva! Viva Donald Trump!
Hi, we're here to see Donald Trump, our next president of the United States.
I think Democrats suck.
Sick and tired of government always mooching on me. I'm like a fat cow, and they're like fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, lice, bacteria, everything's just on me like parasites.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Mocking something you disagree with can be very effective. Donald Trump mocked everyone like some kind of working men's club comedian. However, it is the constant labelling of anyone who supported Trump as being stupid that I believe is a key reason why he won. It is an unintelligent and very tacky approach to label people stupid for their beliefs and views. Misguided, ignorant, brainwashed, twisted. These are all better ways to identify thought process. Calling people stupid is just a blanket statement with no substance backing it up. It shows a lack of class and, funnily enough, a lack of thought. Labeling people as racists because of what they support is one thing. That can make people hide their opinions in fear of consequences. But label them stupid and they just get pissed off. Not pissed off so they have public breakdowns and scream in people's faces. More like pissed off enough to go out and vote and prove you wrong. Or just fuck with you. That is a key lesson to be learned. By mocking people and labeling them merely as stupid is damaging, and it will blow up in your face. Essentially, by mocking every Trump supporter, the left side of the battle played themselves, and essentially they ended up looking stupid. Let me make this clear, there is no such thing as stupid. There is stupid stuff. It's more slowness of thought, laziness, and as mentioned, ignorant, misguided, brainwashed. These are real things. Stupidity is just a word, and you should never call people stupid because it just doesn't make you look better. So, where do you go from here? I would recommend two things: agree to disagree, engage in rational conversation. Unfortunately, there may be a slight problem with that. YouTube and its daddy or mummy or non-binary creator, Google, do not appear to be interested in balance and discussion. A quick inspection of the YouTube Spotlight channel and you can see where they swing as an organization.
Since the beginning of this campaign, you've made yourself heard in every way, from sharing videos to posting opinions, commenting, liking, and maybe a bit of disliking. Now it's time to take action and decide what you want the future of America to be. November 8th, go to the polls and vote IRL.
YouTube are entitled to their own opinion, but when an organization like that has such a one-sided worldview, it becomes laughable. Just look at Fox News, The Sun, Guardian, and the Daily Mail newspapers. It's just not a good look. The evidence is clear that YouTube feel a type of way about how their platform enabled so many voices that are against their way of thinking. And what most likely annoys them even more is the viewing community's opinions. The like to dislike ratio on some of these videos can be staggering, and the comments on those videos, that's something else entirely. And there is a backlash going on right now, a year after the orange-faced man got into power.
YouTube is in crisis. Now, a story that in general got overshadowed last week because everyone was kind of freaking out about YouTube restricted mode was that there was a growing international boycott of YouTube and Google ads. We had news coming out of the UK that the British government, Toyota, McDonald's, hundreds of companies are pulling their ads. Then we got the news stateside that AT&T, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, and others pulled their advertising. Then over the weekend, we saw news out of Australia that Holden and Kia were pulling their advertising. And now the newest and biggest set of news, and I feel like we predicted it on this show, is YouTube's response. And this is news that could massively hurt my channel, any news channel, commentary channels. We got a peek at what this change would be on the 20th. YouTube wrote this blog post a week ago titled, "Strengthening YouTube for Advertisers and Creators." Writing, "There's a difference between the free expression that lives on YouTube and the content that brands have told us they want to advertise against. Our advertiser-friendly content policy set the tone for which videos can earn revenue, ensuring that ads only appear where they should. After listening to strong feedback from our advertisers, today we announced a number of actions and we want to explain what these changes might mean for you, our YouTube creators. Tougher stance on hate speech. We will be implementing broader demonetization policies around videos that are perceived to be hateful or inflammatory. This includes removing ads more effectively from content that is harassing or attacking people based on their race, religion, gender, or similar categories."
If you're a large channel, you can just completely ignore these rules because you make YouTube their money. You can literally show the slaughtering of other human beings on camera, and YouTube won't censor you for that because they shouldn't censor the internet, right? And even if those videos do get flagged the shit out of, YouTube at most will age restrict it if it's a popular video. But what about those of us that YouTube doesn't deem important? Well, let me tell you, don't give a fuck if you're a good content creator and plan on giving your entire life and career to YouTube. They will rape you inside out if you're not big enough to make them enough money to take the risk of trusting you.
To understand the perspective from creators and figuring out how they can build a better product for creators. But I also wanted the opportunity to be a creator so I can use these products and test them out so that I also could think about how we could build an even better platform for creators.
Despite what started the adpocalypse, it's clear that YouTube bots have been programmed to filter certain terms and deem certain videos non-advertiser friendly. But it would seem it's picking and choosing. I believe YouTube wants all voices and communities that do not represent their agenda off the platform by suppressing content they don't like by squeezing the creators financially. The facts are that YouTube does not fully enforce its guidelines when it doesn't suit them. Therefore, clickbait videos, the ones I presented on here, they thrive. Now YouTube, Google and Facebook present this cutesy image of being a forward-thinking utopian model with their wacky offices and working environments. They present themselves as a futuristic alternative to the old media models. But they are the same. They are a dominant corporation that exploits tax breaks and cozy up to political parties to maintain their position. Like the creators they champion and the system they put in place, it's all about money. And if they have to side with one political party to keep their money, then they will do whatever it takes. They are the same as Donald Trump, the man they may have unintentionally assisted to get into power. Too many of us are manipulated by media and base our opinions on what is shoved in our faces because of algorithms. Voting for Donald Trump as a protest towards the age of outrage is not the way to combat it. Saying what the hell you like just to get a reaction and free traffic is not really a stand against the ridiculousness of extreme PC culture, because he can be just as polarizing and divisive. The majority of these voices pushing left and right, from the alt-right to the modern feminists to the left-wing comedians to public speakers who are treated like rock stars, they are all getting paid to do this. When Donald Trump says something that gets the crowd chanting his name, he will keep going with that type of narrative because it is working for him. And much like him, all the examples I have shown are doing exactly the same thing. It's formulaic and algorithm friendly. The manipulative and oppressive system designed for monetary gain on social media has created a space where free thought, balanced and open-minded opinions and discussion is not welcome. Instead, both left and right exist in their own little safe space, and when this space is compromised even just a little, they lose their fucking minds. Your anger and confusion has been monetized. They played you, and in turn, you played yourself. You got clickbaited.
There's a vicious rumor floating around that I think could really hurt Mitt Romney. I heard he passed universal health care when he was governor of Massachusetts. Someone should get to the bottom of that. And I know just the guy to do it. Donald Trump is here tonight. Now I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate and